What is up, guys? It is AJ. This is the UFC Vegas 68 weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and also make sure to share the video. Let's start it off with our first fight of the night. It is between Tatsuro, Taira, and Jesus Aguilar. Nothing about the scales is going to change my pick. Both guys are on weight. Taira obviously has been the pick all week long. I'll pull the face-off up. Here's them facing off. You see the size differential. It favors Taira. I think he's going to do pretty damn well wherever this fight's taking place. But on the ground, he has a serious jiu-jitsu advantage. I'm calling it Taira win via submission. Kind of feeling it might be a guillotine choke, but any method by submission is how I'm feeling. He can lock up something on the floor. He's going to have a big grappling advantage, and I think he has a nice showcase performance. And the odds reflect exactly what I'm saying. They are not close in the slightest. Right now, Taira sitting at minus 1,100, Aguilar plus 850. Yeah, there's no money to be made, money line. How do you want to do it? If you go under 2.5, minus 150, I am feeling like it's going under that 2.5. Taira by sub, it's like, dude, it's like minus 165. Minus 108 is a great value line, but it's not a commonality to be that good of a tag. I talked about maybe decision just for the value at plus 265, but that's against the method I'm picking, so I'm not going to advise anyone to do that. I like Taira to win. He's going to beat Aguilar. He's got a huge advantage in the grappling, and I think superior fighter overall, a lot quicker, and he's a guy with, I think, a very high ceiling. Keep your eye on Tatsuro Taira in the coming years, like probably like in the next year, really. I see him as a guy that breaks into the top 15, works his way into that top 10, top 5. And to be honest, I'm going to predict that he's a future title challenger because he seems like he's got the goods. And at 5'7", 70-inch reach, that's a really good frame for flyweight. Taira for the win. This young prospect is someone to keep a very close eye on. Looking forward to this matchup. Let's keep running up the card. We got more action, a lot more. Next one, it's Jeong Yeong Park, Denis Tiuliulin. I've been riding the Denis Tiuliulin dog side all week long. I think he can beat Park in this fight. We'll pull up the face off here and look at these two staring each other down. Let's get it up here. Here it is. You can see that Tiuliulin is a bit taller, frames, a little bit more size on the Tiuliulin side. But I don't think it's really about the physiques. The scales wouldn't have anything to do with this fight. I wasn't expecting them to shift my opinion in any way. If Tiuliulin is the one putting the pressure, he'll be able to win this fight. And I'm going to call the third round KO. I think Tiuliulin is an extremely live underdog. I say he's going to win the fight. I like the way he pressure boxes. He likes to throw wide shots. Park has decent straights and a pretty okay wrestling game as well. But the thing with Jeong Yeong Park is he doesn't bring serious sting in his punches. Not enough to make Tiuliulin stay off of him. I think Tiuliulin is going to continue to move forward and pressure Jeong Yeong Park until he ends up pulling off a knockout win, which I think is going to be later in the fight. I'm going third round KO. Money line odds sitting around plus 200 for Tiuliulin. Park sitting at minus 214. I like the chances for an underdog win in this one. I like Tiuliulin a lot. He's one of my favorite underdogs this week. I have him tied, really. I think he's just a masterful underdog. He's tied with my dog of the week. It's Even Stevens. If you watch this week's Best of MMA Bets, you know I got the dual dogs of the week. I'm going to go KO. That's plus 360. I also have mentioned maybe you go Tiuliulin wins by KO in round 3, plus 2,600. That's like a crazy Hail Mary sniper, but the odds are great. And I think if he gets a knockout, it definitely could be later in the fight. Good matchup, though, but money line, your best bet for this underdog. Denis Tiuliulin to get it done. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card. Ladies going after it. Ji-Yoon Kim, Mandy, Böhm. I think it's like a loser goes home type fight. The loser of this fight will most likely be released from the UFC. 4-fight losing streak, Kim. 2-fight losing streak, Böhm. I'm picking Kim and have been all week. The scales is another thing that aren't going to dictate a ton. Nothing I am expecting to change here, especially with the fighters all on weight this card too. There's nothing crazy that went down at the weigh-ins. And we'll pull Böhm up here and check her out. Here she is, Mandy Böhm. Jeong Yeong Kim. You can see that Böhm's a bit taller, but I do believe she's got the shoes on here. She's fully suited up. But I'll tell you on the scales, it's as expected looks for both of these females. Slight reach advantage towards Kim, and I also think she's definitely the superior boxer between these two. So I really like the chances of Jeong Yeong Kim getting a win. I think she's going to beat Mandy Böhm by a decision. Now, ugly lines, they're wide towards Kim, who's on a 4-fight losing streak. She's minus 275. Böhm sitting at about plus 240. I don't love the chances of money lining it because of the width of the line. And, you know, a girl on a 4-fight losing streak, not a good look. Not a great bet. That's not an intelligent one. But if you are going to throw down, maybe you look at the decision prop for Kim, but that's not even good. That's minus 125. That's expected. Fight goes distance. You think that would be any good? No. Minus 333. One of those similar, like to be considered an unplayable situation because the person I'm picking, I really do think wins, but it's a wide line and she's not super reliable. I definitely think she's better than Mandy Böhm, but she's still on a 4-fight losing streak. There's no momentum for either of these girls. As I said, loser goes home here, and I'm going to predict that Kim is the winner and she'll stay in the UFC because she's fought decent competition and looked all right. I thought she had the win over Tatsuro, even though she lost that decision, and I think she can beat Mandy Böhm in this one, but ugly odds for this matchup here. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on it, we got the road to the UFC flyweight final. This is a fight I'm actually really stoked for. Hyun Sung Park, Suk Guk Choi. You know, these guys look really similar stature-wise. Like, they also have the exact same haircut. I've been picking the side of Park throughout the entire week. I think he can get this thing done. We'll pull up the face off here and look at these guys, and you're probably going to agree. They're like doppelgangers. Both very similar haircuts, similar statures, just a little bit of a size edge towards Park, and I think he's also a little bit better everywhere, and the more athletic guy of the two. I think Park can win by a knockout. Wouldn't blow my mind if they ended up going the full 3, but I'm high confidence that Park is the better mixed martial artist, and he's going to get the win over a game Suguk Choi, so we're riding with Park to win this thing. Looking at the betting lines for this fight here, the side of Park, minus 185. The side of Choi, plus 170. I like the chances of Park winning. I don't think it's a terrible money line bet. It's a good flyweight fight. I do expect good action. I've been predicting Park will get a finish, probably a knockout, but wouldn't go crazy if it ended up being a fight that goes the distance. Still, fight ends inside distance is plus 160. I don't think that's awful. It's a nice plus money tag. Park to win by KO is a very wide line. Upwards of plus 750, plus 450. They're really expecting a decision here, but my thought process amongst picking the finish is because these guys have a UFC contract at stake. They are going to give it their all. Like these road to the UFC fights, I think most of them are pretty fucking good. There's a lot of stoppages throughout that whole tournament, and I think this one here, it finishes with a stoppage, Park getting his hand raised, and I will call a knockout win over Suguk Choi. Fun matchup in the flyweight division. I'm excited to keep my eye on Park, but it wouldn't blow my mind if they keep Choi around either, depending on performance, of course, but he's definitely not a bad fighter. Next fight is the road to the UFC bantamweight finale. Rinya, Nakamura, Toshiomi, Kazama. Listen, Nakamura's been my pick all week. He's a huge favorite, and he's a villain. The dude is scary. The way he moves is really good. I like the footwork. I like the explosiveness. I like the power in the hands, the wrestling base. He's fighting a guy with real good jiu-jitsu, but I don't see a threat anywhere else, and it's hard for me to see Kazama putting himself in such a bad spot where he's locked up in something. Did I say Kazama? Excuse me. Nakamura putting himself in a bad spot against Kazama. I see Kazama in bad spots, potentially striking, potentially even on the floor, getting ground and pounded. Kazama's got good jiu-jitsu, so if he can get the back, that would be his best method to victory. With the physicality difference, where I really favor it towards his opponent, Nakamura, I have to go with him with high confidence. I'll say he'll get the win by a knockout, probably first or second round. Ground and pound's possible. I think you hurt him on the feet too. I like Nakamura's chances, and I think he's going to be a good signing to the UFC in this bantamweight division. Seems pretty marketable as well, like that villain role he can play. Looking at the lines, minus 420 for Nakamura. Kazama, plus 380. Yeah, I'm riding with the side of Nakamura. Inside of the distance line is sitting at minus 135. We'll call KO. I'm more confident in that. That's plus 110. Going to be hard for him to win by submission against a guy with the grappling skill set on the mat of Kazama. I do think more likely to be ground and pound if he's on top of him. So Nakamura, KO, TKO, plus 110. Money line very wide at minus 420. Not a terrible parlay piece. A high confidence pick, certainly. We're riding with Nakamura, the villain, to get the win in his UFC debut and earn himself a contract to stay put inside of the octagon. Next fight, it is Zha Yi, Jeong Yeong Lee facing off. I got to go the Lee side. I've been picking them all week. L-E-E, not Yi. Don't get it twisted here. We'll pull up the face-offs between these two, and you're going to see something that's very evident between these guys. And what is it? Size difference massively favors the side of Lee. Like, yeah, he's listed at 5'10 versus 5'7. To me, this looks like he could be 5'11 versus 5'6. I think that there's going to be a big edge in the striking. Money straight shots by the side of Lee. If he lands on the chin, it will do damage. Also, when you look at these two in the grappling department, I think that Lee's going to look for even submissions. Like, he looked real nasty. In the road to the UFC, Lee looked like a straight killer. Under 1 minute finishes in both of his fights. And I think he's going to keep that same energy. And I think his opponent could get a little intimidated early, man. That pressure that he's going to get put on with, I don't think he's going to be able to withstand. I'm going to go the side of Lee to win in the first round. I'll call a knockout win for him here. And I think that straight shot down the line could be the kill shot. I like his chances. Jeong Yeong Lee for the win. And I think he's a pretty good prospect, man. This this featherweight finale here. He's good in this weight class, man. I like the abilities. I don't know. The frame is good. The style is good. I like Lee, man. I think he's a good fighter. He's on the come up. Minus 225, not a bad line. Zha Yi sitting at plus 208. Yeah, I'm riding with Jeong Yeong Lee to get it done. KO will be the official method of victory pick. The prop for that one, plus 145. I think there's a pretty good chance that he gets that KO. And I'll also talk about first round win for Lee in this fight. Plus 250. So he's expected kind of to win in the first round because that's not crazy wide. I do like first round, though. I think he keeps the same energy and gets himself a first round win over tough Zha Yi, but he's going to be outgunned. Lee for the win. Jeong Yeong Lee for the win. The Korean Tiger gets it done. Let's keep running. This is the road to the UFC lightweight finale. It's also our featured prelim. Anshul Jubli versus Jeka Saragih. This is a fucking great fight. Holy shit, these guys were intense at face-offs. It starts with Saragih saying, I'm going to fucking slice your throat. Jubli's right in his face, pointing at him. Great face-off. It's a great fight, too. I like the height advantage for Jubli. I think that will assist him in not getting caught by the power strikes of Saragih. I've been picking Jubli throughout the week, and I think he can win this one, especially mixing in grappling too, digging to the body a bit. I like Jubli to get it done, leaning that decision as method of victory. Very close odds between these two. I'll pull up the face-off here, and you can get a little taste of the intensity, but I do suggest that you watch the face-offs after you watch this video and check this one out at least, because it was good. It was really good. I like these type of face-offs. It was just pure high-energy warfare. Like, both these guys are going to give it their all, and somebody is going to get a disappointing Saturday night. I guess it'll be a Sunday morning stateside because this card starts at a fucking crazy ass time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I'm going Jubli. I think he can do it by a decision, mix it in the body attack, but Saragih is very dangerous, and, I'd be cautious betting on the side of either one of these guys very hard because they're both real prospects, and that's why you're looking at such an even line. Minus 110 Jubli, plus 103 Saragih. It's an even fight and even line. I'm picking Jubli, though. I think he'll win it on the cards. Win via decision for him here. Decision win for Jubli is sitting at plus 244. Not loving it, man. I think this would be one of those fights you sit back and enjoy the violence because both these guys got bright futures in the sport, and I think it's a very, very tricky matchup. Though, Jubli, I do pick, and I think he gets the win. We have to respect Saragih because the dude hits like a tank, and he will unload with massive power shots, and I have seen Jubli for a second in the pocket too long. It only takes one with Saragih, and he could definitely flatline him. So good fight. Looking forward to this matchup. We're going Jubli, win via decision. And let's jump to the main card. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Yusaku, Kinoshita, and Adam Fugitt. Listen, I'm high confidence Kinoshita knocks Fugitt unconscious in this fight. I like his chances a lot. You look at his Contender Series fight. He fought a big, tall guy, overcame that height difference, closed the gap well, and got himself a knockout win. He's going to sleep Fugitt in this one. We'll pull up the face-offs, though, and check out, the scales a little bit. You get an idea of how these guys are looking nose to nose before they throw down. It's a respectable face-off, though. You see, height is pretty similar. Statures are pretty similar. Yeah, both these guys have similar frames, right? 6 foot to 6'1". A little bit of a reach edge, though, towards Fugitt, who's got the longer arms, though I don't think he has the boxing capabilities to keep Kinoshita off of him. Seeing how well Kinoshita was able to get to a very tall guy in his last fight, I think in this one it's easier, and he's going to hurt the side of Fugitt, and I'm going to predict that he wins via KO. And I really feel like Kinoshita's a fun prospect to keep an eye on. Some real power in the hands, intense personality. I like what he brings to the table here. Now, as far as the odds for this fight, another wide line, minus 300 for Kinoshita. Fugitt sitting at plus 265. I like the chances, though, of a Kinoshita win. I'm going to say by KO, though. I'm feeling better about the KO than anything else. Kinoshita knockout plus 145. Very playable. Decent little plus money. Not my favorite because it's not like, I wish it was like plus 220. But I think it's an expected method of victory somewhat for Kinoshita. I think it's going to happen. I'm going to go Kinoshita win via knockout in this fight here. He's going to beat Adam Fugitt. Fun fight. Starts at 1 a.m. Eastern time. Holy shit. Next fight on the card. Do Ho Choi versus Kyle Nelson. Choi is back after a long layoff. How's he going to look coming back? He's fighting a tough guy in Kyle Nelson. Some losses for Nelson, but there's also some losses for Choi. He's 3 down, and I think Choi is coming back in the right matchup. I'm picking Choi to win, and I'm confident he can do it, but I didn't include him like in the most confident picks. I'm not telling you go out and bet everything on him. I'm going to say he'll get the KO in a wild, action-packed fight with Kyle Nelson. Now, as far as the face-offs, you can see Choi might be just a smidge taller, but they look about the same height, in all honesty. Both guys, very good shape, lean, ready to go. I expect a fun striking match between these two. Choi's always in entertaining fights. I expect nonetheless here. Watch for the spinning attacks. I think that the time off will help his recovery. I think the chin might be even better than it was before. And I'm going to say he knocks Kyle Nelson out in the 2nd or 3rd round in a good action-packed brawl that could potentially be the fight of the night. Now, as far as the lines for this fight, Do Ho Choi minus 188, Kyle Nelson plus 174. I got to go the side of Do Ho Choi to get it done. Looking at it by Choi KO plus 130. Okay. Under 2.5 minus 185. Choi money line minus 170. If you're betting Choi, be cautious with it. I do think he'll get the win. But, he's on a 3-fight losing streak and he's been out for a while. But he should be better than a Kyle Nelson, in my opinion. Let's keep running. We got more action to talk about here. Our next fight is the featured bout of the night. Heavyweights going after it. Marcin Tybura and Blagoy Ivanov. The pick here is Marcin Tybura. I've been riding him all week. I think that he's going to win. Blagoy Ivanov said he's expecting his striking to be tested with Tybura. I do think Tybura could be the better striker of the two. He's a lot taller and longer. You can see here the face-off, and you'll realize the size differential. I think Tybura, because he's a little bit chubby and he's fought some real tall guys, people forget how tall he is. He's a tall man at 6'3". There he is. A lot bigger than Blagoy. You can see Blagoy. He's giving him a stare down, oh shit, I'm fighting this giant. I think Blagoy's going to get beaten up, man. Even though Tybura is older than Blagoy Ivanov, it looks like there's, a huge age difference here. I mean, Tybura looks 30. Blagoy looks 43, 44, 45, maybe 47. I think that Tybura is going to outstrike him. He'll win a decision. He's coming off a big win against Alexander Romanov. And he's 6-1 in his last 7. I think the momentum continues for him here, and he gets himself an impressive win over Blagoy, who doesn't make you look great, though. I don't think Tybura is going to go out there and blast him in, the first round. I think it'll be a hard-fought, unanimous decision for Marcin Tybura. I think he's got this thing in the bag here. Now, looking at the odds, Tybura, slight money favorite, minus 132. Blagoy, plus 125. I like the chances of Marcin Tybura getting it done. Tybura to win via decision, sitting at plus 165. We're riding the side of Marcin Tybura to win this fight. Let's fucking go. Excited for this matchup. Really, because I like Marcin's chances a ton. I called him the lock of the week this week. We're riding with it. Let's see if he pulls through against Blagoy Ivanov. Co-main event. Da-un Jung versus Devin Clark. I've been picking Da-un Jung throughout the week. I do think he's the more technical fighter, but good physicality on the side of Devin Clark. He's pretty decent as far as his explosiveness, his pressure. He's good with a bullying style. Later in fights, he does fall apart a bit, and I think Da-un Jung is going to take advantage of him later in the fight. So I've been predicting that Da-un Jung gets a later stoppage towards, second or third round. We're not in a championship fight here. We're not in a main event, but I like Da-un Jung's chances in the late second or into the third. I like his striking combos, pretty good from the outside, and should beat a Devin Clark. He'll just have to deal with some pressure early on. There's Da-un Jung. There is Devin Clark. You see the size differential. I think Da-un Jung's going to be able to put it on him on the feet. Might deal with some adversity early. Clark's going to come out very hard, but as this fight wears on, Da-un Jung picks him apart, and he stops him. So we're going Da-un Jung to win via knockout. As far as the odds, minus 237 Un Jung, plus 210 for Devin Clark. Looking towards, okay, am I going with the knockout prop? Plus 140, not a terrible idea. KO, TKO in round number 3 for Da-un Jung. That is sitting at plus 1,400. It could happen in the second or third. Second is plus 700. Maybe you sprinkle both. I don't hate that idea. I think it's actually a smart play. Because, yeah, there's some big plus money on that one. I'd ride with it. I'm going to throw down on second and third round Da-un Jung. Money line I don't love, but I do think Da-un Jung's getting his hand raised. The knockout, very likely, I think, later in the fight. Like I said, the KO prop, decent little line, sitting at plus 140. Da-un Jung should beat a Devin Clark. I really think he should, man. I think his ceiling is higher. I know there's been some mishaps. The last fight, Dustin Jacoby killed him. And then, he had that draw with Sam Alvey. But he's looked good in other performances. And I think he beats Devin Clark in this one. So Da-un Jung to win our co-main event. And let's jump to the main event. If you guys haven't, smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivac. I'm picking Derek Lewis to beat Sergey Spivac, but I do feel like I've been trolled. Derek Lewis came in at 265, 10 pounds heavier than Spivac. I thought he was getting shredded. What's going on here? He pulled a Nick Diaz on us, to be honest. He catfished us. Either way, I don't think the weight's going to be a huge issue. I think he's motivated to get this win. If he lands a big shot, he could knock Spivac out. If they're in the striking, there's always a chance for Derek Lewis. If they're in the grappling, obviously that's Spivac's world. But the physical strength of Derek Lewis has done him well against good grapplers. He survived the onslaughts of guys with very heavy top pressure. And I think in this fight, he can pull this one out and knock Spivac out. I'm going to go Derek Lewis to win. He's an underdog. If he loses this fight, it's probably the end of D-Lew, and let's just throw him like a fun fight, maybe against like a Walt Harris or something like that, because I don't want to see him fighting the best of the best if he loses this one here. Well, look at the face-off. These guys got real close to one another. Respect, but nose to nose. You can see a little bit taller on the side of Spivac. Power edge Lewis, grappling edge Spivac. Who's going to be able to, implement their game plan? Derek Lewis wants to stand up and throw bombs, and the cage is small. So you can look at it two ways. Oh, does that favor Spivac to work takedowns against the cage? Or does that favor Lewis that he needs 2 steps and he's already at Spivac? I think it's going to favor Lewis. We're going Lewis via knockout. I think he beats Sergey Spivac in a pretty good upset here and remains relevant in the heavyweight division. Plus 205, Derek Lewis. Sergey Spivac, minus 220. I like the dog money, Derek Lewis. But if you're betting Derek Lewis, there's no reason to money line it because he's not going to win a 5-round decision. Lewis, KO, TKO, plus 255. Worth a touch, I think. He's got a shot here. Spivac, if he's to win, I'm thinking he probably does it ground and pound TKO for him. KO TKO is plus 150. But yeah, I'm riding the side of Derek Lewis to win. It's a fight for sure against Sergey Spivac, and I'm not telling you he's the fucking lock of the week, but he's going to win this thing. Let's talk some parlays. Looking at it, right? I've been talking high confidence on Tybura. I'm going to have him in a parlay. I think it's a good idea. You go Kinoshita, Tybura for plus 125. Solid plus money. And I think there's a good likelihood that it comes through. You added in Nakamura, it's plus 175. Do it without the side of Tybura. Now you're looking at an ugly line. But you can add in Park and it brings you up to plus 140. And this is a nice little play, I think, with these 3 fighters. I feel like high likelihood that they do come through. If you want to clear the slate off and maybe you're trying to attack the more so value-based lines as opposed to like having somebody at minus 340 or minus 400, Park and Lee together at plus 116. Not a terrible idea either. If you're feeling Denis Tiuliulin dog money, he's plus 190 out the gate. So things are looking pretty smooth if you added them in. And then you could match them up with somebody that's a big favorite and bring you to plus 250. Then you could also add Tybura back in, plus 517. I think the chances are pretty high here. I'm about to unload just a Hail Mary of the week real quick and throw it down for you guys. I know I've had parlays throughout, so if you're looking for more, this week's best MMA bets, I went deep with them. Duho Choi, that's risky, but you could add them in. Young, holy shit, we're going nuts with this one here. This is like a little bit of a nerve-wracking one. I'm looking at it, and it's stressing me out. Because shit can go sideways very easily with a parlay like this. Plus 1935. Like, this is just a Hail Mary ticket. This is not my favorite, right, to throw the underdog and bet it all, but like we're looking for crazy value. This is the lottery ticket. Add Derek Lewis at the top, plus 190. I do ones without the underdogs in it, and I think you might have a better shot, but that only brings you to plus 600. It kills the fun. Be cautious with your parlays, guys. As I always say, 2 to 3 fighters max is your most likelihood of success. Anything more, lottery ticket. That's why I'm calling it the lottery ticket parlays, because when shit gets crazy, you're playing the lotto. Guys, UFC Vegas 68, I know it's annoying. It starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, so late start time. Bellator is before this, so I'll let you guys know. I'm going to be doing a Bellator fight companion, and then I'm going to jump to the UFC fight companion wherever it's at that point. So we'll start it whenever Bellator finishes. So make sure you guys tune in to the dual fight companions back to back. Bring in the heat as always. Smash the likes here. Let me know what you think of the picks in the comments. And if you don't have anything to say, help the algorithm out. Drop a W in the comments for your boy. Much love. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.